Shalom, my friends. Shalom. Shalom. Shalom, my friends. Shalom, my friends. Shalom. Shalom, my friends. Shalom, my friends. Shalom, shalom. Shalom, my friends. Shalom, my friends. Shalom, shalom. To the Buddhists. Shalom, my friends. Shalom, my friends. Shalom, shalom. Shalom, my friends. Shalom, my friends. Shalom, shalom. To the Wiccans. Shalom, my friends. Shalom, my friends. Shalom, shalom. Shalom, my friends. Shalom, my friends. Shalom, shalom. To the Muslims. Shalom, my friends. Shalom, my friends. Shalom, shalom. Shalom, my friends. Shalom, my friends. Shalom, shalom. To the Indians of this land. Shalom, my friends. Shalom, my friends. Shalom, shalom. Shalom, my friends. Shalom, my friends. Shalom, shalom. To the atheists and the agnostics. Shalom, my friends. Shalom, my friends. Shalom, shalom. Shalom, my friends. Shalom, my friends. Shalom, shalom. To the men and women in prison. Shalom, my friends. Shalom, my friends. Shalom, shalom. Shalom, my friends. Shalom, my friends. Shalom, shalom. To the animal kingdom. Shalom, my friends. Shalom, my friends. Shalom, shalom. Shalom, my friends. Shalom, my friends. Shalom, shalom. To the plant kingdom and the animal kingdom. Shalom, my friends. Shalom, my friends. Shalom, shalom. Shalom, my friends. Shalom, my friends. Shalom, shalom. To those we might perceive as our enemies. Shalom, my friends. Shalom, my friends. Shalom, shalom. Shalom, my friends. Shalom, my friends. Shalom, shalom. To our family, we are all one. Shalom, my friends. Shalom, my friends. Shalom, shalom. Shalom, my friends. Shalom, my friends. Shalom, shalom. We need places to pray as if someone is really listening to us, and places who know that they are cared for and loved. It is here. We need places to study, to listen, to communicate, so that we might learn something that is so written in our heart that we are never the same. It's here. others for a continual conversion, not a communication, not a conversation, but we need places to come here, to come to places for a continual conversion of our life. If you allow it, it can be prayer. We need places to remind us to always have the permanent openness to change, to love. It is here in this moment. We need places to bow. To the light that is within all of us. And to bow to the light which is in everyone, everywhere, all the time. It is here. Now, we have been blessed. We are in the River Valley Women because of Kim. Kim has suggested to the writer that they do a project for Look at Us to do the Peace Pole project. And so we have a really nice write-up in this magazine for this particular project that we have. The Hope Interfaith Center is being known, being recognized, and being loved. Thursday, wherever I go, you go. We were asked to be on the diversity committee of the Mayo Clinic, speaking to interns, nurses, intern doctors, chaplains from around the area. And I was telling Jody earlier this morning as we were preparing, I said to them, how do you handle when someone comes in and says, my source is cosmic being, creator of all, infinite energy of higher intelligence. Now mind you, these are chaplains. Mind you, they are all from various religions. And they all said, we've never thought of diversity like the Hope Interfaith Center thinks of diversity. Like the Hope Interfaith Center lives their life, learning about and being in that conversion of accepting all. And so they certainly wanted me to thank all of you for allowing this to come, because their eyes were open, their ears were listening, their hearts were inclusive, and they wanted to know more. And they will know more. We are being seen, we are being heard, and that we is source of cosmic energy, the divine essence that's coming through all of us, as we continue to bravely be light upon this planet. We are being seen, we are being heard. I would like to thank anyone and everyone who's ever had anything to do with the Peace Pole Project. From the money that you've given, from the time you have spent, from the work that you've done, from showing up when we've given those peace poles away. We've given those peace poles to many, many places throughout this community. We've also given peace poles out throughout the country, throughout this country and elsewhere, and we will continue to do so. I was telling Kim, I never thought he would put verbatim, but Kim was the first word who heard me say, for some reason, I want Mankato to be on the map of the World Book of Guinnesses, that we have the most peace poles in any place in the world. And so when the gentleman came, Mike came to interview me here at the Hope Interfaith Center, and I says, I can remember when I told a friend of mine, I said, I know it sounds fun, but I want Mankato to be in the World Book of Guinnesses. So I didn't think he would actually write that up, but he did. He did. So we're making our mark. This is a season of light. This is definitely a season of light, and yet we see a lot of things that are happening in our world today that seem to not be places that are representations of bringing light to the world. And so what I was doing as I was preparing for this today, the first thing that came to me is the shalom thing, the shalom thing, the shalom thing. The other thing is that I had flashbacks of my childhood, actually. And so what Spirit was showing me is the game, Red Rover, Sam Henry, Right Rover. Red Rover, we're all holding hands over here, Red Rover, Sin Sally, Right Over. And if anybody remembers, when you're standing over there in that line and they're calling you off, I know for me, I was thinking, are they going to call me? Will they ever call me? What if they don't call me? I was also thinking about when we had captains and teams in basketball, or football, or whatever it might be, and then they would say, okay, you two, you're the captains, you get to choose. And remember how it felt to be on the other side? And then they were calling the tallest, the biggest, most talented people. And I remember little Janice Gorman, little Janice Miller going, what will they call me? Will they want me? Why don't they want me? When I was thinking about that, when those flashes were coming, I was indeed thinking about the Donald Trump statement. I was indeed thinking about these children who are crossing land to get to here, to have a better life. I was thinking of those people who desperately come in these tiny little boats, risking their lives to come to the United States of America so they have a normal life. And I see those people, literally, is that we as a country, and certainly we as a community, as we hold hands together, how can we not say, if we're not going to live in fear mentality, lack mentality, how can we not say, you're invited to come. You're invited to come. You're invited to come. I don't care who you are, what you've done, you're invited to come. 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 Red Rover, if you need us, if you need us, if you need me, come over. Come over. And if anything, this season is like Hanukkah, Christmas, all the celebrations that go on, pagan. This is the season of light. And although it's very pretty to put lights in the windows, it's very pretty to have Christmas trees and the lights, but the greatest light of all is that we ourselves, that light that comes through and says, when I play games, everyone's on my team. When I want someone to be my family, everyone's my family. And if I have to go with less than to give you some, I will do it, because that is what family does. That is the definition of family. So when I looked at statements of the Bible, the Quran, Buddhist teaching, the Indian's Way, the Red Road, the I Ching, the Book of Mormons, I came to the conclusion it was the interpretation of our personal, sometimes, interpretation of what the Quran says, or what the Bible says, or what the I Ching or the Book of Mormon say. And that we can get in real big trouble when we come forth with a personal interpretation that comes from a paradigm that was taught to us so long ago. We get in trouble even sometimes when we come as scholars with certain interpretations. I know no facts. there's a part of me that really honors that, respects that, but I know, I've studied history, but I have no facts that's lodged in here. Sometimes we come through biased interpretations, socialized interpretations. The conflict comes from those interpretations. So it's our ignorancy or our compliancy of I don't care. The uneducated projections that somehow we are not all the same. That somehow, because they are of a different color, a different creed, or they honor a different book than I do, that they are somehow violent. Or when the pagans have indeed their rituals, that somehow that Wiccan or pagan is somehow demonic, is that the interpretations, if we're going to interpret, must come from our heart. It must come from communicating with each other and coming together. And I do believe that communication is important. I do believe that if you ask politely, they'll come to the table and they will sit with us. And if you invite them to the table and they come to the table and you sit with them and you're talking to them from your heart, because I talk often about the imam that comes from the cities, and he knows 7 languages. I hardly know the English. I never say that as a slam to me. I just sometimes have this. And we sit down and we talk, because we're talking from the heart, which the heart has the same language. It's the heartbeat of Gaia, Mother Earth. It's that one heartbeat. And so this is the season of life. And I always think of like, where will we come to have peace on earth? Goodwill towards all. Where will that be? How will we have peace on earth? How will we have peace that will prevail? When? Oh, wait. So, yeah. For the little ones, when will we have peace on earth, goodwill to all? I think we need to go back. We need to go back to, we need places to pray, to come together in community, like this, like here, like now. We need places to come to where someone knows that they will be listened to. We need places like this where we can join together with others in service as if the world's transformation depended upon it. We need places to join with others for service as if the world's transformation depended upon it. The world is depending on us. We need to come together like we have now. Solo spirituality. I know I've said this a lot. Solo spirituality is great. But coming together in community is dependent. The world's peace is dependent upon us. We need places to practice with others for a continual conversion of our life. We are constantly a work, and a glorious work in progress. And to come together, whether it's to hug each other, whether it's the reading of the prayer, whether it's a gem from what comes from here, whether it's a song, whether it's words that come from Bob, whether it comes from the children, We need each other, and we need places to come in that gathering. We need places where we can bow in the place within us that bows to the place in others, where we know, where we act, where we really do love each other. We need places like the Hope Interfaith Center. In the Bible, Romans, do not conform to the ways of the world, but be changed by the way of love. Jewish tradition, shalom, peace be with you. Buddhist, be what you want the world to be. The Indian tradition, what is the word, Scott? Mitapriyasan?
Yes.
Thank you. Mitapriyasan. We are all one family. Hindu, the Namaste. The pagan value statement, my law is love unto all beings. My law is love unto all beings. We need to find our inclusiveness. We need to brace our differences, but celebrate joyously our similarities. And what that is the ingredients that comes out of a true blue heart. That is where our similarities are. If you massage that a little, and if you open that up a little, and you really look people in the eyes, and you see the spirit and the soul that lives within each other. It is the same thing in all of us. It is the same exact thing. This is the season of light. This is the season of light. This is the season of light. So once again, on Thursday I said, what do you do when an atheist comes in and they're in the hospital bed? And you might be the very last person that person ever listens to, ever sees. How are you going to treat that person? If an agnostic is in that room, or amongst the scholars in the room, which I had the pleasure of saying with great reverence, is what if someone's laying and their last breath is cosmic mother love, supreme energy of higher intelligence. I now surrender this bodily life unto you, my mother, Goddess. I said, how do you handle that? How do you accept that? How do you embrace that? Because one of the things I kept on saying, it's not you inviting them into the narrative of your life. Is that you get the privilege, the honor, and the grace being invited into the narrative of their life. That grace of being invited into their life for that moment. Because that's what it is. That's what family is. That's what people do. Is finding the grace and the reverence and finding it absolutely like below your mind experience to be invited into just someone's narrative life. And in that room of the Mayo Health Clinic, it was very much silence. Because you know why? Well, Reverend Janice and the Hope Interfaith Center, no one No one, since this foundation became built up, has ever talked about diversity as you are, as we are. So of course then my next thing was, shalom my friends. Shalom my friends. Shalom. Shalom. Shalom my friends. Shalom my friends. Shalom. Shalom. Let us love one another. This is the season of light. We seek peace. It's your opportunity to pass that on. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, that's where it's going to happen. Where, when, how. Sometimes that's going to be hard. Where, when,